All right. Hey guys, and welcome to Off the Cuff episode 2. My name is Ian Hill, and we're here once again with Steve Shannon
Hello.
and Antonio Slader.
How you doing?
All right, so we're here for episode number 2. Let me explain the rules again for any first-time viewers or anybody that maybe forgot how the rules worked. I'm going to ask a sports-related topic or question, and they have exactly 2 minutes to answer the question. Then there's a rebuttal from the other side, and they've got 2 minutes to kind of talk it between themselves and figure out kind of who they think is a winner. Whoever you guys think won each topic, make sure to comment it down below in the comments and battle it out amongst yourselves. But without further ado, let's get right into it. And let's go. All right, so first question is going to be to Antonio Slader. And the first question is, Tyronn Lue of the Cavs has been fired this season. The Browns head coach Hugh Jackson has been fired. Joe Quenneville of the Chicago Blackhawks has been fired. Our heads rolling a little too freely nowadays when it comes to being a head coach, and which coach is most likely next? Couch, you are on the clock.
So, a lot of coaches are being fired, and I think I feel like maybe yes, there is a bit of a short leash on coaches, but a lot of things go with analytics in sports right now, and some general managers, and this is where I kind of disagree with the whole analytics thing, is some people trust them too much. They kind of feel like almost anyone can be that coach's job in any sport, especially when it comes to you look at baseball or something like that. If you're not an analytically driven team, you're not going to succeed right now. So yes, I feel like it is going a bit too crazy. However, that's just the times right now. And in terms of who's going to be next, who should it be? It should be Jason Garrett because he is an awful head coach. That team is a disaster in Dallas, which I love because I'm a Giants fan. Marvin Lewis should have been fired, 3 years ago. But I'm not sure. Quite frankly, if you asked me this, if this was recorded yesterday, I would have said Dave Roberts, even though the Dodgers went to back-to-back World Series. I just don't think he's very good at coaching, especially I don't think he can handle a bullpen very well. If you watch the World Series, he made some awful decisions that made that look even worse. But yeah, as of right now, I actually don't know who the next head coach would be. It's not going to be Pat Shermer, even though the Giants are a shit show. Yeah, I'm gonna just stick with Jason Garrett, even though they said he's not gonna get fired.
Sure. All right. What do you think about that? You think it's gonna be Jason Garrett? Steve, your 2 minutes starts now.
So, talking about the first part of the question, yeah, the Cleveland coaches deserve to get sacked. Neither the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Browns are doing well.
Wasn't a real coach.
Oh, well, yeah, LeBron James owned that team. I get it, and absolutely nobody owns Cleveland at all. So, like, if you want a culture change there, you get a guy that's like out of there that has won like 3 games over the last 3 years. I thought his record was like 336-1. I saw or something crazy like that. So yeah, get him out. But the coach that I've been looking at and thinking, okay, he's definitely on the hot seat. I'm not sure if he's going to be fired next per se. Is Scott Brooks of the Washington Wizards. I play fantasy basketball, and I've been looking at Otto Porter. Really not doing that well as a small forward on that team. He has been underperforming. John Wall has a turnover problem, which is causing them to not score as much. I was watching them against OKC on ESPN, and they got completely blown out because they had like I want to say double-digit turnovers like by the end of the half. It was not pretty. Their depth is absolutely awful. They're relying too much on Kelly Oubre, like when their starters are not on the floor. And the only real player that's been okay for them has been Bradley Beal, and they don't have a center either. So I don't know. Like, it is possible for Scott Brooks to turn all this around, but with the talent that is there, you crack the whip and make sure everything's in place, they're not going to be, second in the East in the NBA, or second to last in the NBA in the East. That Scott Brooks might be fired very soon.
All right. Well, Couch, got anything to say to that? Scott Brooks, I think that's a good answer. I think Jason Garrett is probably a good answer too. I think some people might say that Jerry Jones is the reason for the Cowboys failing, and not so much Jason Garrett.
Well, the Cowboys, I can go on for an hour by myself about the dysfunction of the Cowboys, just seeing them, within my own division. But that's a good call there. Another one that I would say is on the hot seat would be Luke Walton, but he's another one that management has said that they're still backing him, but that he needs to, they need to see an improvement within the team. So Luke Walton might be next, actually.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our second question. Steve, you'll be starting this one off, and the question is: college basketball is back, and Duke dropped 118 points behind a stellar performance from Zion Williamson. Was ranking them at number 4 disrespectful?
No, it's a preseason poll. A lot of it's just done by coaches, and the AP really does not know too much. Yes, they're looking like the freaking Monstars, and there's no hiding it. We still don't know what a lot of the head-to-head matchups look like, and it's very early, but very possibly even next week they could make the jump all the way to number 1. We don't know this, but it is still early in the season. Number 4 in the nation is disrespect. Predicting them like from day one, the jump that they're going to the Final Four. I'm not completely sure ranking them at number 4 is necessarily a bad move, but like there's not too much to climb from there. Zion Williamson is a beast. He is going to be a very good small forward in the NBA. They try to put him at power forward in the NBA, and he's just going to be kind of like Draymond Green minus the defensive MVP kind of caliber. RJ Barrett is very agile. He will squeak into any hole and score a basket. I am very impressed with the Duke freshmen so far. They will be number 1 at some point during the season. I don't think it's disrespect at all putting him at number 4 right now.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Couch? Is 4 too low? Should they have put them, just started them off at 1?
I agree with Steve. I don't think it was disrespectful or incorrect in any way to rate Duke at 4. I mean, you're looking at a squad that has, a bunch of freshmen in the starting lineup, and yes, they're dominant freshmen. They are. I think they had 3 of the top 5 recruits in all of the country starting in their starting lineup yesterday. But it's still not proper. It's not the right thing to have them ranked number 1 because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how they are going to gel as a team, as a squad. Certainly, by the looks of it yesterday, they look like the best team in the entire country. And there was a stat that I saw that I'm looking at. It's insane. Duke's 4 freshmen between RJ Barrett, Zion Williamson, Cam Reddish, and Trey Jones yesterday, they outscored Kentucky by themselves. The 4 of them scored 89 points. Kentucky as a team, who was ranked number 2 in the country, number 2, scored 84. So they were outscored by themselves by 4 freshmen. It is insane. Will they be number 1? Absolutely. Are they already being talked about as the favorites to win the national title? Absolutely, and rightfully so. This is one of the best teams that we've ever seen, probably. But I do agree with the NCAA and the coaches poll, the AP poll, having them at number 4 to start off.
Okay. All right. Maybe that was just my gut thing. I honestly feel like college football or college basketball, you're going to have a lot of freshmen in it anyway, so I don't think having freshmen is necessarily unique, especially in that scene. And anytime that you have that, it's not a surprise that they're this good, Like, we've seen video of these guys So I don't know. I just felt like last night. I honestly didn't even feel like it was ever going to be close. So, anyways,
Can I make a point really quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know the statistic that he is referring to. Trey Jones had 6 of those points. That one freshman that you're talking about. RJ Barrett with 33, Cam Reddish with 22, Zion with 28, and then Trey Jones was the one with 6. It's not so much the entire freshman class of Duke that is amazing, but those
like
big
the
three,
main, but like the
absolutely.
main 4. Yeah, that's what it.
Oh,
That's
contributing to everything but 6 to beat Kentucky. Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our third.
Man, I wish Zion went to UNC.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and move on to our third question, which is a college football question. So this goes back to Antonio first. It's who outside of the top 10 in college football has a shot at making it into the top 4 and make a case for a team? You're on the clock now.
And we're talking outside the top 10?
Yeah.
I see number 11 right there.
No. No, sir. You know what? I'm kind of gonna go to the team that we were slandering a little bit last week, and I'm gonna go with UCF. Now, yes, their schedule is weak. Yes, they haven't played anyone this year, and they played very few significant teams last year. But again, they are undefeated. So you look at the out. We're going purely outside the top 10. Kentucky is a 2-loss team. They're out of the question. UCF undefeated. Syracuse at 13, 2 losses, 3 losses, and then it just keeps going down and down. There are more teams with 2 and 3 losses, and then you just see UCF sitting there, 8-0, 5-0 at home, 3-0 on the road. They've won 8 straight. They've won, I think, 24 consecutive overall. Nobody's done that. Nobody else has done that. Nobody in the country has done that. So if there is a team outside the top 10, I feel like by default, you have to go with UCF.
All right, UCF. I think that's a good answer. I think they're kind of, I don't know. Will it happen? Like, who knows, right? But I see the path, right? I see the path where it becomes hard to say no to an undefeated team.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, go ahead. You're up.
The correct answer is none of them. You look at all the teams that are like right now inside the top 10, they are legitimate contenders. And the reason why I say none of them is basically because if you are a two-loss team, and I'm looking all the way down the line, and there's a ton of them, the only one not there is UCF. If you were a 2-loss team, unless something drastic happens to the top dogs inside the top 10, you're not making it to your conference title game, and you are not then making it to the top 4. None of these teams. I'll look at the top 10 or the Big Ten right now. Michigan and Ohio State more than likely going to be the ones in the Big Ten representing one of them in the top 4 when it comes down to everything. Alabama, Georgia, LSU, all within the top 10. One of them is going to be in the top 4. ACC. Look all the way down the line, and then there's Syracuse all the way down there. But I think we all know that Clemson's going to be in the top 4. Nobody's going to take their spot in the ACC. And then Notre Dame is an independent, and Antonio said last week they could win out. So looking all the way down the line, yeah, you can make a case for UCF. Is that going to happen? Absolutely not. Is anybody outside the top 10 going to be in their championship game and beat one of those top teams? Absolutely not. So none of the teams outside the top 10, unless anything crazy happens, is going into the top 4.
All right, cool. What do you think? Do you think that there's a legit chance at I guess it's kind of UCF or bust, but for that to happen, it'd have to be like chaos, right?
There would need to be absolute chaos within the final few, 3 weeks to a month of the regular season it to even be a conversation. It's not going to happen just because the teams in front of UCF are also, very formidable, but it's not going to happen.
I'll ask a follow-up question then. What team currently in the top four is most prone to be knocked out? Last week we saw LSU get knocked out, but that's because they had to play Alabama. That it's hard to expect any team to beat Alabama. So, what team in the top four is set to be knocked out, or is looking most vulnerable? Is it just number 4 Michigan, just because they're at number 4, they're the closest?
I wouldn't say it's just because they're the closest being outside, but their last game of the year is against Ohio State. And recent history will show that Ohio State has taken this series and just run away with it. And even though Ohio State has been slumping recently, they haven't played very well, and they are number 10 in the country, I think you can make the argument that Ohio State, even though I disagree with a whole lot of things going on there, Ohio State might be the better team between the two of them. So if there is a team that could very easily be knocked out of the top 4 right now, I'd say Michigan.
Looks like we'll have to wait until the last game of the season to see if that is the case or not.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
So I'm looking at all the teams' remaining schedules, and I remember seeing something on ESPN saying that there was a 9% chance that all the top teams in the top 4 right now will win out. Yes, Michigan has Ohio State. Yes, Notre Dame has number 13 Syracuse, and they play USC at the end of the season. Clemson will have number 17 Boston College, Duke, and then South Carolina to end the season. But if we're talking about the team that has the hardest remaining schedule and has the hardest time possibly winning out, it is Alabama.
I'm not concerned.
For Alabama, you're not concerned at all about getting 3 straight wins against Mississippi State at 16, 24 Auburn, and 5 Georgia. You're not concerned about them winning out.
The only one that they should have any trouble with is Georgia, and they might still win that game by 2 touchdowns.
So I get how you think that, but the team with the hardest remaining schedule that has
in LSU.
Okay.
They shut out LSU, who is number 3 in the country, at home in LSU, 29-0.
All right.
Yeah, it's I mean, I agree. I think Georgia's a tough team. Like, that's a tough game for any other team, but it's Alabama. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're telling me that Notre Dame had to play Georgia, I'd say, all right, just back out Notre Dame right now.
Hardest remaining schedule goes to Alabama.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I see where you're coming from. But the highest probability of dropping a game, I think you still have to err with Michigan and Ohio State. It's a rivalry game, that's a big deal. And not to say that Georgia, Alabama isn't, meeting each other last year in the playoff and constantly playing over and over in the SEC. But it's that's kind of the one big football rivalry is Michigan, Ohio State. So
yeah.
Well, so I mean, I think a lot's going to be on the line, more than just skill. I think there'll be a lot of emotion on the line. It'll be a really important game, and it'll probably determine whether or not there are 2 SEC teams or not. That's what I think. So, all right. Well, that concludes our questions. Hopefully, you were able to have an opinion of your own if you're listening, and if you think that either Antonio or Steve won, make sure to leave it down in the comments. But it is time to switch over to our second and final segment, which is Weird Flex But Okay. Last week, Antonio mentioned how the Mets' new manager signing, your general manager signing, his wife is related to Neil Armstrong. That's a pretty weird flex, but all right. And Steve mentioned about how. Wait, Steve, what was yours again?
Carmelo Anthony signing with the Rockets.
Yeah, that's a pretty weird flex. But all right. they're James Harden back from injury. They're looking still not great, but better. Um, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and kick it off with Antonio this time, since he got to play cleanup last week.
Who's going?
Antonio.
Oh, I'm going. Oh shit. I've been going back and forth the entire time we've been recording, and you know what? I'm gonna switch mine up. Actually, I'm gonna go back to my original one, and I'm gonna go with this whole situation between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Le'Veon Bell. Like, so in case you don't know what's going on, the Pittsburgh Steelers declined to offer Le'Veon Bell a long-term extension and decide to franchise tag him again. He did not sign that franchise tag in the offseason. He decided to hold out for a long-term deal. He said he will not play unless he is under that long-term deal. It did not happen. So he has until November 13th, which is this upcoming Tuesday, to sign his 1-year franchise tender to, be qualified to play this season for the Steelers. He has yet to sign. However, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, he tweeted out from his Twitter account, obviously, "Farewell, Miami," indicating that he is leaving where he's been hanging out, where he's been training, and that he was going to finally rejoin the Steelers and sign that tender before the deadline. Then news came out today that he has not reached out to his team. His teammates have not heard from him in months, and now he may not sign it at all. And the reason why I decided to come back to this story is from what he just tweeted out at 6:53 p.m. It's about 7:15 now. And if you go to his Twitter account, he tweeted this long thing, and he tweeted it all in upside down text for whatever reason. So I'm just going to flip over my laptop and I'm going to read it to you. "I'm not apologizing for what I believe is right for myself, family, and the rest of my peers, period. Also, if you're really finding the time to figure out what I'm saying, you've proved my point." Buddy, what are you even saying there? You said the entire time that you're going to be coming back to the team. You've told your teammates you would be back, and you haven't. Now you're saying you're being all cryptic about where you are, whether you're signing, whether you're not. And now you're just tweeting shit. You're tweeting paragraphs upside down. You're making me flip my laptop. My head already hurts just from your tweet. Buddy, what are you doing? Your whole situation, quite frankly, is a weird flex, but okay.
No, word from our sponsor, because you are having a headache. Take an Advil. Advil, fast relief. My weird flex is the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo literally flexed his beautiful abdominals without finishing the game against my Red Devils. They came back in the last 5 minutes or so and beat Juventus 2-1 in the Champions League. Yeah, pretty scary. Manchester United wins on away goals, and they advance in the Champions League. Poor Juventus. Never get too cocky, kids. I love you, Ronaldo, but, man, it's 1-0.
Yeah, that was a weird flex, but all right. I think that wraps it up for us, right? Any final words you guys have?
All I want to say is that the Brooklyn Nets are going to make the playoffs. That's all.
Okay, all right, Steve. Anything for you? Anything about your Bears, maybe?
Check out Steve, Ken, and Shannon on SoundCloud. I make dope mixes. You should check them out.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for imparting some wisdom about the sports world to us today. Hopefully you enjoyed it this week. And if you haven't checked out episode 1, go check that out now. And episode 3 should be out in the near future. Thanks for listening, and goodbye. Peace.